Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Sangeeta Mehta and you're watching my channel, My English Magazine. Today I explain to you MA English second semester paper first. What are Shakespeare's most famous quotes? So this is a question. So now I explain to you. Revisit 10 of the most memorable phrases taken from the 37 plays Shakespeare penned over the course of 2 decades by Brad Whittle. Now, Fata Hilton Dietrich collection. Although they were written more than 400 years ago, the words of William Shakespeare remain timeless, thanks in large part to the bard of Avon's ability to poetically capture universal human emotions with overarching themes that continue to remain relevant. Many continue to find his writing highly and readable. So, in fact, whether one knows it or not, many lines of his work live far outside school English classrooms. Shakespeare has been credited with either coining or at least popularizing myriad phrases that have become so ingrained into the everyday lexicon that many are not even aware of their origins. Just a few examples: Love is blind, The Merchant of Venice, Break the Ice, The Taming of the Shrew, Be All and All, Macbeth, and Wild Goose Chase, Romeo and Juliet. Aside from the pages of the tragedies and comedies, some of Shakespeare's longer phrases and quotes continue to live on, frequently referenced throughout pop culture, emblazoned on posters and even in tattoos. Actress Megan Fox, for example, has a line from King Lear: "We will all laugh at glider butterflies inked on her shoulder." Read more. Was Shakespeare the real author of his plays? Here are 10 of the poet's most famous quotes. Number 1, to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether the nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing and them to die to sleep. Prince Hamlet Soluki in the Danish set tragedy, particularly the first line, has been widely referenced in modern pop culture. Of course, the question can be broadly applied to many different situations, but at its inception, the speech was part of a deeply philosophical internet debate about the pros and the cons of human existence. Number 2, this above all, to think to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, though canst not then be false to any man. Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 3. Also taken from the Samianal tragedy, the line which was spoken by Polonius as a pep talk of sorts has resonated throughout the generations for its universal theme of sticking to one's values when faced with the dilemma. Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death, but once Julius Caesar, Act 2, Scene 2. Using death as a metaphor, the Roman ruler minimizes his wife Calpurnia's fear that he may soon die. In the play, many identify with the call to bravery in the present moment versus dying inside, so to speak, while wasting one's life in fear of an inevitable end. Number 4, men of some time are mistress of their fates. The fault, dear brutes, is not in our stars but in ourselves, that we are underlying. Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2. Cases uses speeches to convince Brutus to join the assassination conspiracy against his friend Caesar. What he intended to convey is that people can control their destinies and that they are not necessarily predetermined by some divine power. To brute, a Latin phrase meaning even you brutes, has also come to signify an unexpected betrayal by a loved one. Read more. Shakespeare wrote 3 of his famous tragedies during turbulent times. 5. What is a name? That which call a rose by any other word would smell as a sweet. Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2. In Shakespeare's tragedy about the titular star-crossed lovers, Juliet's line references her and romance, warring families, and that their last name, Montague and Capulet, shouldn't define who they are or negate their romance. Instead, she is saying more than a collection of letters, and changing what something is called doesn't change what it inherently is. Good night, parting in such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night still. It be Moror. Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2, taken from Romeo and Juliet's iconic balcony scene. Juliet speaks these words as she is saying goodbye to Romeo. The highly readable, though seemingly paradoxical sentiment notes the sadness of saying goodbye to a loved one, while also pointing to the sweet excitement of thinking about the next time they will see each other. All the words are stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in the time plays many parts as you like it. Act 2, Scene 7. Spoken by Jacques. In 17th century comedy, the frequently quoted passage contends that life essentially follow a script and that people play roles as in a theatre production during its various stages. The robe that smiles steals something from the thief, much like the phrase grin and bear it. The Duke of NC reverts act as a piece of advice to follow when one is wronged. His claim is that when one doesn't show that he or she is upset, it removes a sense of satisfaction for the wrongdoer. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown, King Honey. 4. Act 3, Scene 1. Sometime rewritten with the phrase heavy is in place of uneasy lies the dialogue or King Henry IV conveys the great difficulties of leaders who are tasked with great responsibilities and difficult decisions. All the glitters is not gold. Sometimes this is the question. All that glitters is not gold. This is a question in MA second semester paper first. The Merchant of Venice Act 2 Scene 4. Scene 7. In Athens, the quote written on a scroll in the 16th century play means that appearances can sometimes be deceiving. Shakespeare originally used the word glisters, an antiquated synonym of glitters. So this is the MA second semester first paper Shakespeare. So I also give the notes in my blogger. The name of my blogger is My English Magazine. There also the full syllabus about the MA English, the whole semester you can take. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.